Hi everyone, this is Carl Amaya with LiveSync.com. Today we're going to be looking at settings, one of the first parts of our iPad Essentials class. And let's go ahead and get started here. So I am on the iPad, I am on landscape mode guys here, just for better viewing experience for all of us. But let's go ahead and go to our home screen and go ahead and click on settings or touch settings on your home screen on your iPad. And here's just a quick part, guys, that I'm going to go through, and I tell this to everybody that I do the face-to-face classes with, but also these online ones as well. Here's what I tell everybody: most of the settings that are defaulted on our iPads are probably going to be the best settings for us anyway. Apple does a really good job of being very preemptive in considering people's needs and what they like. So I will say that, guys, that's a really good thing that Apple does. But the second part to that, of course, is that I want to raise an awareness. So if at any point you feel, hey, you know what, there's something that I don't like, in a particular application or a particular thing that my phone does, know where it's at so you can change it or adjust it or see if there's an option to what you need. So without further delay, let's go ahead and get started here. Under settings, right? First part up here, guys, is airplane mode. Well, airplane mode severs off connections. So if you were to dial this over to the right and it was to turn green, such as these icons over here, you're going to notice that airplane mode would sever off all connections. That means Wi-Fi, also wireless connections to like wireless carriers, so through Sprint, AT&T, Verizon, whoever you have. And also it'll sever off Bluetooth. After you've turned on airplane mode, you can still use Wi-Fi and you can still use Bluetooth after the fact, but you cannot turn on wireless connections. So that is just a quick workaround. If you did want to use those things, you can still enable those by going to the settings right underneath, if it is in airplane mode. The next thing, guys, is Wi-Fi. Wi-Fi is very important, right? So whether you're on a 4G or 3G connected device, you want to make sure that your Wi-Fi connection is up and running and connected to the network that you wish to log on to. As with most Apple products, this looks very similar over here on the right, guys, top right. The lock button indicates that there is a password. The check mark over here next to the first part of the Wi-Fi area here means that you are connected to that network. And these right below where it says choose a network will be different networks available in your area. Bluetooth is the next part. So Bluetooth is primarily used for audio devices, but you can also use it to transfer data connections with like pictures and other things. Apple's a little bit restrictive with those things in their experience with it, but for the most part, for most of the purposes of consumers, we're going to be using it for audio devices, right? For music, for stereo, or for listening while you're on Skype, things like those. The next thing here, guys, is Notification Center. So Notification Center is this particular part. I'll show you what it is, just so we can get an idea of it. It is a drop-down box from the top of your screen, okay? And there is a training that focuses on Notification Center and Control Center, which is right below it out of your settings here. But just to give you an idea, it kind of overviews things that are happening on your phone, such as calendar events, such as the time and weather. Control Center, which is right below it, gives you only two options: the ability to access the Control Center on the lock screen and to access it within applications if you're running applications. And the Control Center is swipe from the bottom up, and there's another training, guys, that's called Control Center Notification Center under this iPad Essentials class. Take a look at that one, okay? We'll go more into detail on that. The next thing here, guys, is Do Not Disturb. So when you click on Do Not Disturb, it gives you the options over here on the right, what you can and can't do. And then General. General is just general information, but there is a few things in here that are pretty important as well, such as your passcode lock, restrictions, date and time and the way you wish to display that, international settings. There's also resets down here. Resets would be if you wanted to reset your application, I'm sorry, your iPad completely, things like that nature, or also other settings such as wireless networks. And towards the top, if you wanted to see what kind of software you had on your device, let's say there was a software update that you hadn't received a notification for, it would be over here under software update. You click on that, it'll check the network, it'll say, hey, there you go, I have up-to-date software. The next one down is going to be sounds. So sounds has everything that is related to how the phone dings or buzzes or swooshes or tweets or whatever it does whenever you get different notifications. So you can adjust them by going to ringtone and changing it to a different one. You can also adjust your sound settings here, up or down. So lower, of course, would be lower volume, up would be higher volume. Right now, as you can tell, mine is at the highest volume. But you'll also notice that you have right underneath it a ton of options, to make sure that the things that you do on your device ring in an appropriate manner as you set them. So the next thing here, guys, is wallpapers and brightness. I typically keep mine a little bit below the median here. So I use it a lot at night, so I don't like to have that brightness too high up, as it does hurt my eyes a little bit, but that's up to you. I would always encourage you to have auto brightness on. That way the sensors of the device can sense whether it's light out or a little bit of light out and adjust accordingly. So make sure to have auto brightness. Again, there is that consideration of that, but you can adjust that auto brightness to be brighter or dimmer, right, depending on your preference. And privacy, guys, is the next one down from wallpapers and brightness. As you see here, there is location services, privacy, contacts, calendars, reminders, photos, and so forth. And if you click on any of these, it'll give you further options to adjust your privacy settings and what you feel most comfortable with. Just to give you an example, location services privacy for me is on. And what that means for me is that if I were, for example, look for coffee shop when I am traveling with us, because maps, as an example here, is turned on, right, green, that means that the device will figure out where I'm at, and whenever I search something, it'll search for all coffee shops in this example around my area and give me a list and navigation, ways of navigating and ways of calling that place. So it's a good thing, for example, in maps, just because it knows where you're at and kind of what's around you too, right? But let's go back to privacy, and as you know, there's a lot of options, and each of them expand to have more options under them. Okay. The next thing here, guys, is iCloud. iCloud, there is a whole section, guys, dedicated in our iPad All You Need class and what each of these does. But I wanted to say, again, there is a awareness piece here. Be aware that your iCloud settings are housed under settings, and each of these has either a yes or no, right? Can you use it? Okay, do you not want to use it? And it gives you a summary of what your account name is, and it also gives you storage and backup information here. If you were to click on this, it'll give you your storage and backup information regarding your iCloud account, such as how much data you have, and it'll give you options to have bigger packages as well if you wanted to have, for example, more pictures or more data or more information or more notes or whatever else you wanted. The next thing here, guys, is mail, contacts, and calendar. Mail, contacts, and calendar has to deal with your emails, different settings in emails, such as contacts in sort order, and so forth, right? There is a lot of different things that you can look here, guys. I would encourage you to take at least a few minutes just to go through each of these and figure out what is the best options for you. Although, as I said in the beginning, a lot of the options are suited for the best, to be the best for the most amount of people. Apple's really good about doing that. The next thing down here is going to be notes. So notes just gives you further information regarding notes. Default account, for example, here my default account is Gmail. Reminders is another one. It gives you a little bit of information there. For messages, it says iMessage is on, so I can do iMessages and send messages between other Apple products. Send read receipts, allow others to be notified when you read their messages. I typically disable that, and a couple other information points here that you can adjust or remove or toggle on or off. FaceTime's another one. It gives you the information of your FaceTime and the information that is attached to this device. Maps is going to give you more options from maps. So as an example, if you want to go to kilometers versus miles, English, yes or no, driving and walking directions, which one is preferred as a defaulted version of what it gives you when it feeds you information back. And then we have Safari. Safari gives you more information. My search engine, as an example, just over here on the top. My default search engine is Google. You can change that up, and there's more things as you go down through this. And there's some things here that might be of interest to you guys. Some of them might not. But again, raising awareness that they're there. And now we have iTunes, music, videos, photos, iTunes, you, and Game Center, right? Again, guys, these are just awareness pieces, but be aware that these are there. You know, it shows you the different options available on the right side here through your iPad. And of course, you can adjust all of these things. And as you keep going, you're going to see that there is options for Twitter to log into this if you like, Facebook, Flickr, Vimeo, right, which is kind of like YouTube for those of you that are not too familiar with Vimeo. It's what we use here at LifeSync. And there is more options as you click on these, and these are now settings for applications that you've downloaded. So as an example, Angry Birds. All it's going to give me here is just the version number, right? But if I keep going, so for example, if I touch Pages, which is Facebook's like business page management side of it, it's going to give you more information regarding, you know, what it's all about and the version numbers. If let's say I had an issue and I had to send an email, they'll probably ask me what version number I have and what's going on. But these are always good things to be aware of, right? And again, guys, settings, and the biggest thing that I want us to get out of this is that two things. One of them is most of the settings are defaulted to be very good and optimal settings for most people. Second part is if you have difficulties with a certain thing that happens in mail and you're not okay with it, go here, go to settings, go to mail contacts and calendar, and figure out if there's an option for you to change it up. But that does it for us, guys. That is settings under your iPad. And if you have any questions or need help with anything, go to lifesync.com and shoot us an email under contact us or give us a call. Have a good one. Bye-bye.